Hi, I think I am live, so I'm super excited to do this video with you because today in this letter there is a dream of 2 years that I thought would never happen to me that is came through, and I just pick up this letter this morning, and I'm super excited to share with you first what that is, then how it came about, the story about it, and also to inspire you to go for your own dreams, especially the thing that you really want and you don't see a path forward. So the reason why I'm doing that is because, first of all, I'm excited to share with you what it is, because it has been so long in the making, and for the past 2 years and a half. So it's a big celebration for me, and also I'm excited to maybe inspire you on your own path, whatever dreams you may have or you want for your life, for your work, for whatever it is. So, okay, great. Let's get started. And feel free to share in the comment as you go along if you have any questions, reaction, likes, loves. I like feeling like I'm connected and you are here with me. So I would love to see that. If you are called to, it would be great. So let me first tell you a little bit about the context. So I've been living in California in the US for 13 years. So I'm originally from France. I lived in Canada before moving to the Bay Area. And I've had my own business here in California for now 7 years, doing what I love. It's my life purpose in the world, and I love my work. I love my business. I help, so if you, in case you don't know, I help professionals or people who are stuck in work they hate. I help them find the career they absolutely love that align with their talents and purpose. And I help people find the work they are meant to do in the world. And I love doing that because I did it myself. And it's my joy to help every person I can do that. Because I think the world is a better place when we all do that. So, and I love my business. And so in terms of my status to be in the US, so to be able to start my business in the US, I applied for a US visa, which is called the E2, which is a visa for entrepreneurs, foreign entrepreneurs who want to start their own businesses in the US. So 7 years ago now, I applied for that visa, and through a long process of 6 months and a lot of documentation, and I got it. I got it for 5 years. And that allowed me to fulfill my dream to stay here and develop my business. And this visa was actually expiring in July, about 2 weeks ago. And my desire was really to stay in the US and to continue to stay living in California and continue doing my business, which I love. And because my vision is to want to step even bigger in my business. I have a lot of ideas about how I want to inspire more people, speak on stage while living in California. And the way to renew that visa was complicated, was not in alignment with my vision for my business. So it was not something doable for me to do that, to renew that specific visa. So it was stressful as I was getting closer to the expiration date. It was quite stressful for me because I didn't know exactly how this would work out. And I've been in touch. So for the past 2 years, I've been in touch with my wonderful immigration lawyer who helped me get the E2 visa. So I've had many conversations with her in the past 2 years, many, 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 about, okay, what shall I do? How can I continue my business in the US and doing what I love and be able to do so? So, and I'm checking some of my notes because I want to ensure I cover everything for you because it's really important. And so by talking to my immigration lawyer, the only doable path, the path that sounded at the time doable, was for me to be able to stay in the US, was to find a company that could sponsor me for the green card. And this meant that for a certain period of time, at least I would say 6 to 9 months, I would have to be an employee for a company. And I had many conversations with her about it, because that was not my favorite path. Because I think I meant to be an entrepreneur. This is in who I am, and developing my vision in the world. So it was not really a comfortable path for me to explore, but it sounded like there was no other path. And we had many conversations about the topic, and I really trusted her, and that it was the only way for me to find a company to do that. And so I started, and knowing that the process would be like 2 or 3 years, so I wouldn't, it would be kind of quite a long process to be able to do that. So I contacted many people in my network, friends of friends, past co-workers, colleagues, to see if we could find a win-win. People who had either their own companies, or who know to find a win-win, for me for them to sponsor me for the green card, and for me to be able to support them in whatever capacity that would be. And by the way, if you are listening right now, if you're watching and you have been one of these people, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I super appreciate you and the support you have been giving me on this journey. So, because I've reached many people in the past 2 years, and what was happening is that, first of all, my head was like, yes, this is the only way to stay in the US, you have to do it. My heart was like, was resisting, didn't feel good inside of me, because I didn't really want to be an employee for a company, if I'm really honest with myself. But because I didn't think there was any other way, I said, okay, I don't have a choice, so I have to do it. And so I keep pursuing it, even if it was exhausting. I was drained. It didn't feel good inside. I was forcing myself to do it. And what was interesting, all the doors would close. So I would contact people, and sometimes there was a door opening, meaning like the slimmer of hope of a solution starting to open. Like I said, oh, maybe there is a door opening, and really shortly after, the door would close. It's a little bit, imagine that you are like you want to find your path to something really important to you, and you keep knocking on doors one after another, and all the doors are closed, or sometimes a door quite open, so you put a foot in there, and then boom, it closed back. So it's a way I felt for the past 2 years around this situation. And yeah, it was quite I couldn't feel like there was a wall in front of me. There was no doors, no way in, and it was very stressful. It was tiring, and it was stressful as well, because I would see the countdown of the date of expiration going down, and I was like, crap, I don't have a way. What's gonna happen? And while continuing doing my business, serving my clients, and my business in the meantime was just blossoming, and loving serving my clients, loving what I was doing, and living my life as usual, or trying to live my life as usual, knowing there is this big thing looming that was looming and always in the background. And then 6 months, about 6 months ago, in December, January, I realized, okay, this is enough. Like, I'm not gonna continue trying this path. It's exhausting. It's getting me nowhere. It doesn't feel like it's working. It doesn't feel like it might be the right path for me, but without knowing what else would be there. And so I really took the time to just stop taking so much actions. And this is the first thing I want to say that's very important, is that sometimes we take action just because out of fear. But the action are not in alignment, and the action get you nowhere. So this is one of the learning from this journey. I'm gonna share as I go along in my story. I'm gonna share with you some of my learnings, because I learned so much. And yeah, it's what I call the empty doing. You have empty calorie, you also have empty doing. You keep doing because you feel guilty, you feel afraid that if you don't do anything, nothing will come about, and you keep doing, but it doesn't feel good in your system. But nothing works out, because when you are doing from that place of not lack of alignment, most of the time it doesn't come about. And this is what happened for me. So I took the time to really slow down and go inside in the past, like go within, do some more meditation and just contemplation with myself instead of trying to do on the outside. It was in December, January, beginning of this year. And I started to listening more to my inner guidance and what felt good for me. And then also a turning point on my journey is that I talked to one of my mentors, told me something that was a turning point in my journey, and I want to share with you because it might be helpful for you as well. So this mentor told me, and if you are listening and watching, thank you for that. Super appreciate that. And he told me, when you talk about that, you feel so attached to the result, so attached to, I have to stay in the US, I have to stay in California, otherwise, it's not gonna work. And it's hard to manifest something in your life when you are so contracted toward the outcome of it. So there is a place of surrender that probably would help you, which, wasn't new. So many people tell me, surrender, you have to let go of the outcome and not attach to the outcome. So this is easy to say. It's not always easy to do. My mind was like, of course I know I need to surrender, but I can't. And so, but what the piece of advice that was really helpful, he told me, one of the ways to surrender, you may have to grieve the fact that you may not be able to stay in California and the US. You may have to feel all the sadness and the feelings about this possibility. And this may open something inside of you. So I ended up scheduling a session with my therapist and feeling all the grief. Telling her this is what I need, and I cried, and I feel all the grief about maybe I won't be able to stay in California, I won't be able to stay in the US to do my business. I'll have to, move to another country. And I cried, I let it out. I just let it out, all of it, all the emotions around it, the sadness of this possibility, the fears around it, all of it in 1 or 2 sessions. And that indeed opened up something for me. It felt like suddenly I felt lighter and I was more accepting about the idea that maybe I won't be able to stay and that will be okay. I was inside of me coming to a place, you know what? Worst case, I want to stay, but if it doesn't work, I'll be fine. And I was starting brainstorming, oh, well, if I'm not able to stay in the US, where would I go? Oh, I like Scotland. Maybe I could, live in Scotland. Oh, I'm Canadian. I have a Canadian citizenship. I'm French as well, but I could, live in Vancouver. Or what about I'll go to New Zealand? I'm always wanting to live in New Zealand. So just starting just fully brainstorming. And after that, 2 things happened for me. 2 paths unfolded. First, I started really listening more to my intuition and to the guidance I was receiving. And one of the guidance I was receiving from my heart, not from my head and my mind, but from my heart. Because often the guidance comes more from your heart or your body, depending. And it was like, oh, I just want to be more visible. I want to speak on stage. I want to be interviewed. And my heart was like, I don't care if you stay in the US or not. This is what I want. So instead of listening to my mind, I started listening to my heart. And starting applying to talk at international conferences, for interviews, on podcasts, on TVs, and I got accepted to many different things. And I started doing the path of becoming more visible at that level. That felt very good for me. And on the same track, I received some guidance, and I was receiving some through different people I was talking to, and I ended up talking to a lot of different lawyers. And just by following the thread of recommendation of people but it was more based on my intuition. It was coming from a different place than before. It was more coming from letting go and just not trying to force the outcome. And I just would follow the 2 track. I just keep following without knowing where that would lead me, and knowing that it was in January, February. I had only 4 more months to stay in the US, so it was quite stressful. But I was like, okay, I'm just gonna follow this breadcrumb, even if I have no idea where it's gonna lead me. And this is another thing really important, to not, to follow that, even if you don't know what the outcome is gonna be. And by doing that, I ended up talking to a lot of different lawyers, and a kind of a different path starting opening up for me, a path that I never thought would be possible, a path to be able to stay in the US and continue developing my business, and with some type of visa and green card that I have heard about, but I was like discounting. I was like, you know what? I don't think it's for me. I don't think I have the background for that kind of visa. And specifically, I'm talking about some visa, you may know about it. It's called the O1. It's a visa for individuals with extraordinary abilities and achievements. So if for people who are really at the top of their fields and often really well known in their field and really at the top of it. I've heard about that, but I didn't think it was doable for me. And I think it's why also my lawyer didn't really offer that opportunity, because it didn't feel like a doable path for me. But the more I was talking to other lawyers, the more I keep hearing that coming back again and again, to a point I was guided to talk to a French lawyer who was recommended by someone who really specialized in this type of visa. And when she saw my background and things, she said, I think we can make it work. It's not a guarantee, it's not a done deal. Initially, she thought maybe I had 50% chances of getting it, the O1, but if we combine your 20 years of experience together and really bring it forward, it could work. So, and what happened, what was interesting, it felt aligned inside of me, because this visa was about, the more I was visible, the more I was becoming a thought leader, the more my chances to get that visa were increasing. So suddenly, even if the chances were kind of still small, inside of me, my head and my heart and my body was in alignment. And inside of me, I felt, yes, that feels really good. It was not a done deal, but I felt it inside. So I invested the time and the money in the past 3 months to work on that. So I spent a lot of my sheltering in place time just preparing for that visa application. So putting together all the pieces, a lot of work, writing articles, contacting people to support me. And by the way, if you're watching and you are one of the people who have supported me in the past 3 or 4 months on that journey, thank you. Thank you thank you from the bottom of my heart. Yeah, that's quite a big achievement, and I wouldn't be able to do that without you. So thank you for what you did to support me, or the way you showed up, and you know who you are. So thanks. And so for the past 3 months, I worked a lot on that, and we came about some, application thing that was about 800 pages of all the things, because I had to look back all my past experiences, work experiences in the past 20 years, all the patents that I co-invented when I was at Yahoo, the international conferences I spoke to, the achievement I did. So that was quite an interesting exercise. And what was interesting is that all the time, even if it was really uncertain and I was getting closer to the deadline for me to be able to stay in the US, there is alignment. I felt really aligned inside. And I felt like there was a place of me, like it's gonna work out, even if I was scared at the same time. And I'm excited to say that, so we filled out the application and I got the answers. I actually got the answers on July 1st, but today I have the official, the paper confirmation of it. So that I was accepted, and it went very fast. In 10 days, 10 days after my file was submitted, I got accepted, and I had we worked so hard at it that it was really good. So it happened for me. And this visa that I never thought I would get, the visa for individual with extraordinary abilities and achievement, I got it. I'm like, wow, I'm still like dreaming on my little clouds, it's happened for me. Even if 2 years ago you have told me that, I would have said, what? It's not for me. It's not gonna happen for me. So I'm sharing that with you because what we think is impossible is often all created in our mind. And by the way, when I'm saying that, I'm not discounting that there is also a lot of barriers for people and some communities right now in the world, and especially as this is happening with Black communities in the US and around the world and people of color. I want to acknowledge that reality as I'm speaking right now, that it's not always just about, you know, what you create in your mindset. It's part of that, but there is also some other barriers that can be, you know, structural and need to be changed. So I want to acknowledge that before I move forward with that. And I also want to say that, you know, in this case, and often when we think something is impossible, we create it in our mind. And for me, I thought it was impossible and it happened. And so I know that it's the same for you. Whatever you think right now is not possible, is never going to happen, especially if your heart and your body, you want it so badly, it's so important to you, and it's in connection with a purpose in the planet. I know that there is a way it can work, especially when your mind and your heart and your body are in alignment. This is key. If your mind is telling you you should do that, and a part of you is like resisting it, something is off here. It's probably not gonna work. So the alignment is key. That you have this kind of alignment within yourself is some of the key things that you need to do, and other things that I mentioned with you in the video. So I would love to hear what's coming up for you as I'm sharing my journey, about your own situations, about your own dreams, a question you have. I love this work. I've achieved many of my dreams in my life. I've lived in 5 different countries. I've climbed, you know, some of the highest mountains in the US. I've started my business to do what I love and my life purpose, and all things that I thought would not accessible to me and would never happen in my lifetime. And so I love helping people on that journey of achieving what they're here to do on the planet. So feel free to ask questions, add comments, what's coming up, stirring up, and I'm sharing that with you. I would love to hear and see and answer some of your questions. And I'll probably share more in the future about that. So thank you for watching. This means a lot to me. I know this was a bit longer than what I thought, but I really wanted to tell you the whole story. And I look forward to seeing you soon.